In this video, we show you all the details, all the costs and all the profit margins of our latest flip property in Pretoria, South Africa.
Now, you probably followed along, you saw the latest video, it did really well, and we have a lot of comments and a lot of questions on that, and specifically one of them was, show us what you spent money on. And I'm gonna try and do the best I can to show you all of the details of the cost breakdown and what we spent money on. Now, I need to do a quick preface before I start. And something that you need to know is we did some collaborations with partners on this project, and one of them was specifically Mix Cement, and they sponsored a big amount of all the flooring that we did on the property. So that is of course a cost that I don't have here, but is a cost of renovation that you would have in your project. Another one that we have is with Concrete Corporation, and they sponsored all the vanities in this project. Those are of course costs that we didn't have, but that you will have when you renovate your own flip. So how I have this cost breakdown laid out is in a similar way in which I presented it in the course, where we allocate certain percentages of the budget towards the different areas in the property. And I will show you a quick clip of that, just a picture, and so you can see what percentages are allocated to which areas in the property. Now, this is also, of course, it's just a reference and it's a framework, but we don't stick to it 100%, because some properties, they need more on the flooring side, or some need more money allocated to the bathrooms, maybe some to the landscape. So this is just a basic framework to give you an idea of the type of budgets that we allocate to which areas. So firstly, I will start with the kitchen area. In this property, the kitchen was not as bad as we normally find. And what I mean by that is all of the skeletons in the kitchen were possible to reuse. They weren't rotten, they weren't moldy. The only thing that was bad was the countertops, as well as the fronts of the kitchen cabinets. Now, this is something that you have multiple options of replacing it. The option that we went with was by replacing all the fronts, replacing the handles, replacing the countertops in the kitchen, doing a new backsplash, putting new kitchen appliances, that is now a zinc, a stove and an oven, and that basically gave us a brand new kitchen. If you look at it, all the pictures, you won't know that it's one being reused. But that is totally dependent on what you have on site. So that is why a good thorough inspections beforehand will help you a lot to determine the amount of budget that you will need to allocate to the kitchen. But in total, we spent 38,000 on the kitchen. Now, again, I just have to say, some of these costs aren't precise, some are a little bit rounded off, and the reason for this is the fact that we have laborers on site and we move them from the kitchen. Okay, tile a bit here, now we need you on the outside. So the costs aren't precise, as you will see when you're running your own site. But this is as accurate as I can explain it to you and give you the amounts which we spend on which area. The next one is the 3 bathrooms. It's actually 2.5 bathrooms, where we had a toilet and vanity on one separate bathroom, and then a bath shower vanity on another, and a toilet, vanity and shower in the main bathroom. So on all of these bathrooms, we installed new vanity cabinets with new Concrete Corporation vanities, as well as new mixers, all new accessories on all the walls. That is your towel hooks, your toilet roll holders, your towel rails, all of those things like shower curtains, all of those are new. And then the other thing is we used Mix Cement on all the wall surfaces in the bathrooms as well as the floor surfaces. Now this is something which will cost you around 20 to 25,000 with the squares that we take into consideration of these 3 bathrooms. But this of course is not a cost which we had because the product was sponsored to us. We only had the labor to install this. So this was actually a big cost saving opportunity for us, which we of course used. So between the 3 bathrooms, we spent 45,000. The next area of the house is the flooring. Now flooring is normally quite a big cost because it's normally the whole house. If you are lucky enough to be able to reuse some of the room's flooring, like sometimes there's a laminate flooring in bedrooms or some carpet that might just need a wash and a retention that you can reuse, that will of course be a massive saving towards your budget. If you don't have that option, and we didn't have that option in this property. So what we did is we collaborated again with Mix Cement. They sponsored the product, we gave the labor, and we did the entire house from bedrooms to living areas to kitchen to bathroom floors. Everything we did in this Mix Cement finish. If you didn't see the video already, we'll have it linked up on the end of this video. Then you can look at that before and after transformation, and I really do think it came out exceptionally well. It's difficult to tell you precisely how much we spent, but I have an estimate of about 20,000, and that is in preparation, in labor, in some of the sealers that we have to buy, and that was a real big saving that we were able to have in this property, and that is because of the channel and because of the partnerships that we have built with some of the suppliers. The next big category is the paint. Now, paint is one of the biggest aspects that really changes how a property appears, and it is really one of the easiest ways to freshen up the property, to make it look new, make it look renovated, and we really did paint almost all the surfaces. If I can start from the outside, we painted the boundary walls of the property, which was a cement prefab wall, which looks dated, and by spray painting the walls, it really enhanced the look and feel, and that was a real easy way to make the outside and the appearance of the property look better. The second thing we did was we painted the face brick and plastered areas of this house. And that is something which a lot of people would not do, and it's just because they are scared that the paint might peel in some areas, and that really we haven't found that ever happens. If you prepare the product properly, that means by brushing the face brick walls, you brush them properly, clean them properly, maybe a pressure washer, and just get everything with no debris on it, you shouldn't have any problem with painting those walls. So we did plaster a few small areas just to enhance certain areas of the facade and just bring a bit of contrast between the surfaces. Having some face brick surfaces which are painted in the one area and plastered surfaces which are also painted, it really just gives a bit of depth of feel. So we also then painted the fascias, all the trims on the property, as well as the window frames inside and outside, all the walls internally, together with the door frames, the bedroom cabinets, the doors, the skirtings, the ceilings. We really painted everything that had paint on, because paint oxidizes over time, and that creates a bit of a yellowish appearance to it, and that's something that you don't want. So for us to be able to change that, we really painted everything. A good thing to take into consideration when picking your paint is you need to know what the previous paint was. If it was an enamel, you either need to use a universal undercoat before you paint it, or if it was a water-based paint, you can just paint another water-based over that. If you don't do correct surface preparation, you will have trouble with peeling paint over time, and that would really not work in your favor, as you would have a comeback when you have sold the house. The total paint expense was around 40,000 on this property. The next item is electrical. It is a real easy and quick way to really change the appearance of a property and make it look modern and technologically advanced. The way in which we do this is we replace all the light sockets as well as plug sockets with a new trendy color modern socket. The one that we have picked on this property is the VETI2 range. Now VETI2 is a real price competitive product. The other place where we spend money concerning the electrical items is the light fittings. That is also a really easy way where if you don't really change the position of the lighting, you can very easily just change out the fitting. Put in a new pendant, put in a new light, a new pendant or a nothing light that we also use a lot of the time, which is like a LED panel that just gives light, but it's not a feature. And that also allows the lights that are a feature to stand out more. Now, on the electrical side of things, we spend about 30,000 Rand. The next item is landscaping. Now, on the landscaping of a property, we try to do things clever. We try to plant smaller plants at the start of a project to make sure they settle properly and that they don't die when we try and sell the property. So we give them a bit of chance to just settle in the new position so that everything looks planned and manicured. One of the items that we can't do that with is with the lawn. That is something which we plant maybe 1 or 2 weeks before we launch the property into the market. And so for that reason, we roll out the new lawn, instant lawn that we plant, and we give it as much water as possible to make sure the grass doesn't go brown in between when we've planted it and the show house. And that is something that is also a bit dependent on the climate of where you are doing the renovation, as well as the time of year, the season that you are planting this grass in. But there are ways to ensure that the grass stays green and looks appealing to the potential buyers. Now, another thing is a bit of paving and so on that we did to the outside of the property. We moved some paving from the back of the property to create the entertaining space, and that easily saved us about 15,000 Rand, where we would have had to cast a slab, install some tiles, all of these things, and that will be dependent on the market price at which you are aiming to launch the property at. If you are aiming to launch a property in Garsfontein for 3 million, I don't think that a paved entertainment surface would necessarily do the job. So you need to be very specific when you set out the renovation budget, as well as setting out the sale price of the property that you are going to market. Now, on the landscaping, we spent in total about 35,000 on that. The next area is the facade. Now, the facade I mostly see as the entrance of the property, as well as the exit where you go to the entertainment area. Those are properties which you will be in close proximity to when entering and exiting the property. So that is where I really want to spend some time and money to create some features. Now, what we did on the front of the property, like you can see here behind me, is we added a pergola. Now, this is really not an expensive thing, but it frames the entrance of the front of this house. We also spend a little bit of money on putting in a new front door, and at the back we put in a new sliding door, and we plastered a bit of the features around that, those entrance and exits, and that really creates a new facade of the property. We speak of a term called curb appeal, and that is what you want to create. We also did a bit of flooring and a bit of planters around that, just to create a homey feeling, and that was a total of about 25,000 that we spent on those areas. Final thing that I want to speak about is miscellaneous costs. Now, these are costs that you will incur in all of the various areas that I already spoke about. Now, you don't really know beforehand what these costs specifically will be or where you will incur these extra costs. So as the project moves along, you will need to make some very difficult decisions on where to allocate the extra budget. And that is really determined on what you discover as the project goes along. Sometimes you find a big roof leak, or some rafters that are damaged, or some gutters that are rotten, and then this will actually force your hand, and this will make sure that you have to spend money on all of those other unplanned, unforeseen items. That is why it is real important to set aside at least 10% of your budget for these miscellaneous costs, things that you didn't plan for. So we allocated 30,000 for all of these costs. So like I said in the start of this video, there are different aspects to budgeting, things that you need to take into consideration, maybe bargains that you can buy secondhand, things that you can repurpose from the house that you bought. Maybe there are some collaborations that you can do with partners in your area by adding some value to them, by showcasing them on some content that you maybe would be making while renovating this product. In the essence of the budget, we really didn't exceed the amount that we budgeted by a lot. We budgeted 300,000 at the start of this project, and at the end we spent 330,000. That is also including all the deal costs. That is your transfer costs, your bond costs, all of the costs that we incur while busy renovating this product. In our course that we recently released, I have a specific topic on budgeting for renovation that will help you with the specific planning that we just spoke about, and it goes into quite some detail, putting out the percentages of the amount of money which you need to allocate to the different tasks on a project. Go to our website for more detail on that. So that is the cost breakdown of this property. I really hope you find it valuable, and I hope that seeing some of the items that we spent money on will help you in your next renovation project. We are also starting with a new project in the coming week, and we will do the same thing for that. And keep following. Please like and subscribe, and keep on watching.